Welcome to our mental health and quarantine chit chat session put on by the National Secondary Students Council. I am one of your hosts for today, Isheba. I am the Region 1 Public Relations Officer for the National Secondary Students Council. I'm so excited for this session, guys. Can't wait to hear what Dr. Avril has to say about mental health and being in quarantine and all of this. I know that we're all going through a lot right now. I can attest to that. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this session. And so now you're going to join me in observing the playing of the national anthem of Jamaica. Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to our mental health and quarantine chit chat put on by the National Secondary Students Council. For those who are just joining us, thank you for coming. Welcome. I am one of your hosts for today's session. I am Isheba, and I'm the Region 1 Public Relations Officer for the National Secondary Students Council. I will now hand over to my co-host, Ree-Anna Robinson.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I am Ree-Anna Robinson, and I'll be one of your hosts today for the NSSC's Quarantine and Mental Health Chit Chat. So today we're here to talk about the elephant in the room, or mental health. And it's quite important now, more than it has ever been. Right? Our objectives today include exploring the impacts of quarantine on student mental health and providing students with strategies to employ in maintaining a healthy mental state during quarantine, and exposing students to mechanisms on how to navigate difficult circumstances. So today, we have sharing with us Dr. Avril Daley, a trained consultant clinical psychologist, who will be sharing some of the impacts of this quarantine, as well as providing some tips with regards to navigating these difficult circumstances. Dr. Daley, how are you doing?
Good evening. Fine, thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
Yes, and we are so glad that you are here. So, just a little rundown of who Dr. Daley is. Dr. Avril Z. Daley, has a Bachelor in Education at the University of the West Indies and Michael University College in Special Education, and a Master's in Science at Alabama and AM University, and a PhD from the University of the West Indies in Clinical Psychology. She has been in private practice for over 24 years at Contemporary Assessment and Counseling Services, and has worked at the University of the West Indies in the Department of Child Health and the Department of Community Health and Psychiatry. The Michael University College, that's where she does it, as well as the International University of the Caribbean. Dr. Daley has worked on many issues affecting children, teens, and adults. She's interested in the effects of violence and trauma on children and adults, emotional intelligence, and social emotional learning. So Dr. Daley, is there anything else that you'd like these wonderful students to know about you?
Okay, outside of the psychological stuff, I love the performing arts, well, visual and performing arts, both. My training as a special educator, I'm also I use sign language not as much as I used to before, and most of
All right, that's great to know. Okay, so we're gonna begin now with 4 questions. So, what are
okay.
some of the psychological effects that COVID-19 has on people?
All right. When this virus first came about, when we just heard about it in December, and well, here in Jamaica, we thought, oh, we're so far away from this, it will never really affect us. And then we started to see the rapid rise and the spread in China and then outside of China. And then it was like only a matter of time before it gets to our shore. So one of the first effect that it had for persons is anxiety. Is it going to get here? Is it going to affect us? What's going to happen to us? So with anxiety comes a fear of what this can do to me. I watch the news quite a bit in listening to the death toll, listening to the person who are most vulnerable, and things like that. So the fear and the worry started. But when it actually got to our shores now, and we're seeing it, I think Jamaicans on a whole, because when it first was announced that we had our first case, I kind of remember maybe some of you weren't born yet when Gilbert struck. Well, you shouldn't have been born because Gilbert is about 30 years old. When the hurricane was first predicted that it was going to make a direct hit to Jamaica, yes, they had the persons who were experienced, who had experienced before, had the anxiety and the fear. Persons who didn't was like, bring it on, we want to see this. So I think that was a mixture of what was happening there. A lot of disbelief and some denial, but a lot of it was more anxiety and fear. I think was some of the most things we saw. All right, and that was in the initial stage. I go on to say, as soon as we started hearing the numbers rise now, and what's going to be happening with the lockdown, with the curfews and everything, other things started to come into effect. Some of the other things we started to look at depression, because the not showing we can't leave the house, we can't go anywhere. So these are just some of the few things that actually started out as part of the psychological effect, right? The loneliness, things like that.
So, doctor, you said that you've been watching the news, you're aware of what's going on. So,
Mm-hmm.
how has quarantine been treating you? What are some of the adjustments that you personally have to make during this time?
Well, just like with any other citizen where there's a curfew or anything, I try to observe as strictly as I can. We have, in my work now, I'm only allowed on site 2 days per. So I had to make that adjustment as to not to get up to go to work the other days, but to work from home. And with the advent of school, one thing I didn't say, I have a 7-year-old living with me and my sister. So it's kind of very hard to be doing work from home because she's doing homeschooling on the internet and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the adjustments that I had to make. The other adjustment was they're calling it social distancing, but I prefer to use the term physical distancing. I am a touchy person. So when I see my friends, we hug, we kiss, we exchange lots of stuff, right? Just in that small space and time. So that's something, because even when I have my sessions with clients, I would shake their hand when they come in, shake their hand when they leave. So those things I have to mentally remind myself that these are things we can't do. So that's some of the biggest adjustment, and being able to decide when to go for food and when not to go, and decide, for example, how much of this food am I going to be buying off the road? I'm sure that these persons are not ill they're preparing the food and they're so all these things. So that's quite a big adjustment that I personally had to make.
All right. So, doctor, some students have been complaining, well, not complaining, but they've been expressing that, this quarantine, they've been isolated from people. It has caused them to go in a dark place. So, if it is that someone believes that they have been developing signs of a mental illness during this time, what is it that you suggest that these persons do?
Okay. persons, like I said, human beings on a whole, we're social creatures. Majority of persons like to be around other persons, like to be interact, like we're doing those things. So what the physical distancing has actually caused that those gatherings can no longer be. All right. We have used things like Zoom and other platforms to get us talking, WhatsApping more, video calling and stuff. But there's some people who actually like the physical, right? Because I'm seeing you, but I can't reach out and touch you. I can't feel the emotions that I usually get. So that can cause some persons to go into depression. So the isolation is one of the big things that would cause those persons to start going into these dark places. Okay, they're so used to having the social support around them that it requires more than what we can actually give. So a lot of them, whom if they are also more prone to having these depressive bouts, this can also exacerbate these attacks. So we have to be aware and say, okay, what can we do to help these persons? We have to reach out to them more. Okay, we have to make sure. So if you know you have somebody who's more prone to depression or somebody who's saying, I can't stand this anymore, this lockdown, this. So we have to reach out to them more through social media, a telephone call, a video call. If you realize that there is more to it than just this loneliness, but they're going into depression, then we'll have to recommend that they talk to somebody. The MOH and W website has a lots of things that you can actually find. They have a listing of the different clinics, and well, because you're all under 18, I now presume mostly you would have to go to the child guidance clinic, and they're still up and running. I work with the one at University of Hospital of the West Indies. They're up and running, but again, you have to take the precautionary screening. But the Buster Magic Child Guidance Clinic, there are others. Every parish will have one. So that's a place that would go. If not, then a private psychiatrist or a private psychologist they can actually reach out to.
Okay, so doctor, I have to ask this question, I have to ask a follow-up because I don't think, because we never know, I don't think I suffer from any mental illnesses or anything of that sort. But how you said that we should reach out to people whenever they're feeling a certain way or so, but what if we ourselves I feel a type of way that we don't want to deal with nobody? Like, how do we, maneuver our way around that? Are we entitled to reach out to people just because they might not be feeling good in this quarantine time? Because I'm not feeling good either. So how do we do that?
All right. We always try to encourage the interaction. Okay. One of the things in terms of like treating depression is we call it exercise activation, physical activation. That helps us to get our own defense mechanism up and running. How we combat this feeling of loneliness. We can do that. If you yourself, you're not feeling in the mood to be talking to somebody, we're hoping that somebody who is close enough to you will also recognize these signs and be able to say, hey, what's going on? You're not eating the way you used to. You're not sleeping the way you used to. You don't seem to be interested in talking to anybody, whether by WhatsApp or on Facebook, or you're not doing anything. What's going on? So that person will be able to help you to get to that stage where you can say, okay, I'm going to confide in you. This is what is going on with me. And then the person now, based on what I'm saying, can try to assist you with the different things that you're actually going through, or say, this is a little bit more than I can deal with. Maybe I need to get a professional to come in. And as I'm saying, the Ministry of Health website has all the guidance clinic. All right, they have their numbers to their helpline. You can call the Adult and Mental Health unit at the Ministry of Health. On the head office, you can call there, and they're more than likely to be able to direct you to somebody that you can talk with.
All right, so there's been also talk, doctor, about COVID-19. It's being said that it's going to have the biggest psychological impact on the world. How do you feel about this statement?
Well, I think is already starting. I think what we're looking at is a long-term fallout from this. Okay, part of the uncertainty is the not knowing, and that's one thing that creates the anxiety. And we have looked to see what past history has given us in terms of people's psychological reaction to things. All right. The biggest thing that anything that looks like COVID that we can remember would be the Spanish flu. And I know you're on WhatsApp, so you're getting all these things being circulated, the same things that happen, lockdown, wash your hands, all those things. That was from 1918. So 102 years later, 101 since it started in 2019, we're still saying the same thing. And we have, how did they react to that? Other natural disasters that people have seen, all right, say hurricane, earthquake, the 9/11 bombing, anything like that, will bring on depression, will bring on increased suicide, increased anxiety, increased substance use. A lot of things like that will actually be seen. So basically, we're running the experiment now to see how do we cope from day one, moving, and how it's going to affect us a year from now. Because the predictions are basically that this, in the way we're seeing coronavirus still being very active, will not disappear at the end of 2020. They're seeing it projected to go into 2020 and 2021, but at a decreased rate. So we're all hoping that it will go away, but we're going to have persons. Is it that 2021 January, will I still be able to go around to people and shake hands and hug and stuff like that? Will we have to exercise more caution? Is it going to change the way we deal with persons? So these are things that will be around to influence what is happening from the fallout that we're actually seeing now.
So, doctor, there are a lot of persons who have the idea that during this quarantine time, oh, you have a lot of free time. You should be doing this and you should be doing that. You should be taking these courses and all of that. I actually refer to this as a quarantine mess because a lot of us we have lost our motivation to do anything. We have lost our routine. We have been sleeping in bed until 1 p.m. and all of these things. So how can we regain that sense of motivation and purpose to actually do what we have been doing before COVID?
All right. One important thing is to future plan. Okay. We're looking on and we're saying COVID-19 is here. It doesn't seem like the same thing as any other health crisis that we have had before. We're hoping just like we have a yearly flu, this thing will blow over. So we have to now look and say, what's our future? What do we have to gain from this? And for most persons who are in 5th form or 6th form, it's to move on to the next stage of life. All right? Persons in some of the lower grades have more wiggle room. So I don't have to do anything because I'm just in grade 7. Or I don't have to do anything because I'm just in grade 8. But grade 11, and which is the crucial time now, and for persons doing CAVE, they're looking at either going on to university or out into the world of work and say, okay, how is this going to affect me? So that's the motivation you'll have to kind of help to pull yourself up by the bootstraps to say, I need this for my future. Although everything around me seems to be out of whack and things are changing, I need to be able to get myself up and running, regaining my routine. So you have to have that discipline within yourself. And if you don't have it, get a group of friends. So all these challenges are going on. You create a challenge. You say, who can get up first in the morning and ship and ready to start the day doing work? And you guys have that kind of pack going with each other. So you get up you have to get up in the mornings. You have a schedule. If there are no online classes or stuff that you need to attend, you need to create your own schedule. To say, okay, for the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be working on my math. Then I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Then I'm going to work on my English aid. Then after that, I'm going to do my sciences. But every day you have that. And it's important also to build time for exercise, because we have been hearing all the jokes about the weight people are putting on because they're home and they're eating nonstop 24/7. All right. So you have to make sure you put time in for exercise, because post COVID, we don't want people like, okay, what happened here? All right. So you have to build those, you have to get those routine going. You have to get that sense of purpose, and that life has meaning, and this is how you want it to be, because 5 years from now, you're still going to be graduating from the university and you're going to be moving on with your life.
Ree-Anna, I hope the Jamaica Moves ambassadors that are here are hearing this. 30 to 60
Right?
minutes of activity daily. Love your
Yes.
Yes. Actually, we have to have a discussion about this, Isheba. It's something serious.
I agree with you.
It's something
Yes.
serious. All right, doctor. Within this time, the sad reality is that a lot of students use school as their getaway because their home situations were really less than desirable for them.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you recommend that persons who experience emotional trauma caused from their home situation, family or guardians, or whatever the situation may be, how do you suggest that they cope during this time when school was their only getaway?
This is one of the harder things that I've been listening to. I was listening to Dr. Judith Live on radio the other morning, and that's the same thing you're talking about, in terms of, we're hearing it in the United States about the increase of abuse, and she was basing her fact on the amount of hospital visits and stuff. We might not have that here in terms of the actual numbers, but the psychological abuse, then, to be in the same space with somebody who keeps putting you down, to me, is just as bad as you're being physically abused or sexually abused. So for those persons where school was the only safe zone, then they are out for at least 6 to 7 hours or more, and they feel that relief. It's very hard to help those persons to find something else right now, because if you're in your community, and especially children, you're saying there's no school, you should be home. There's no place else to go. We try to say, okay, is there anything you can do outside of the house itself? Spend more time on the outside, all right? I heard one mother said, with the stress of schooling, she actually gave her child an hour playtime, that he can't play in the house, he has to be outside. So they'll have to create things. They'll have to do things. They have to be able to say, okay, how can I be in the same space without getting myself more hurt by what is going on around me? It's very hard to ask children to do that. But children, a lot of them are resilient. They'll figure stuff out. They'll learn how to problem solve. They learn to do other things. They'll say, oh, okay, between waking up, most people who might not be getting up until about 8 and to about 10, because they're busy doing breakfast, doing stuff, I can stand it. But after the lull now, and between 10 and about 1, where this is the time when I say, what can I do? I don't have the internet to be engaged in school. So I said, go outside. And you spoke about learning to do other things. All right. You said, okay, this might be the time for me to do some gardening. All right. This might be the time for me to look at how to make water get into the house more if effectively, but try to get away from the stressors that are within your environment, and as much as you can out of the abusive person's range.
So, doctor, like most of us here right now, we're teenagers. We're in high
Right.
school. And so I want to know, like for me personally, this is what I've done. I feel like there are different stages when you talk about COVID and being in quarantine. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've been through the stage where I don't care, like, oh well, this soon over, it's gonna pass. I've been through
That's
the
it.
stage where we say, all right, cool. But she said Corona still there. I don't know it's still at there, but there. And so I've been sleeping up until 1 p.m. in the days and so on, not doing any schoolwork, by the way. I hope my teachers don't see this.
Right?
But it's just the truth, right? I haven't been doing anything. Now I'm at that stage where I'm motivated to do things more than ever. My initiatives, I just start one bag of initiatives. I started a blog the other day, and so I feel good now. So do you have any specific activities that students like our age can take part in to like take their minds off the harsh realities of Corona?
All right. As I said, a lot of the stuff we're doing right now is linked to having the internet. So if you have access to the internet, that's fine. The blogging is something good. All right. I've asked persons like to keep a daily journal. All right. Sometimes because in psychology, we like to use imagery and using your imagination. The other day, I watched this Swiss Family Robinson with my little girl because it was kind of showing her that kind of an isolation. They were lost. They were out there. They had to depend on each other in a household. So he said, okay, how am I going to document my journey through this? All right. So where you were for the first week, and where you are in the second week, where you are in the third week. So you do things like that. For persons who are more, say, more theatrically inclined, the performing arts, I said, maybe it's your big time to write that play that you always wanted. Music. Lots of Jamaican, myself here, I love the music, but I can't sing to save my life. So I said, maybe a songwriter rather than a singer. So you create things like that, all right? You try to start looking at, oh, okay, COVID will be over shortly. If you have an entrepreneurial mind, you can say, okay, is there anything I can do now in this time, right? Or if it can't happen now, what after COVID, what are things you have to look at? What are some gaps that are going to be there? What can I set up? Where's my niche market? You can actually do things like that. Because if you're not on the internet, you have to be able to have something that you can put down physically and put it in place so that afterwards. I see you're nodding your head, so you are in agreement.
Yes,
I
definitely.
am.
Okay, so Doc, I know you mentioned earlier different ways where students can stay motivated, but that was for the average students. How do you recommend for students who actually suffer from mental illnesses such as anxiety or any mental illness? How do you suggest that they keep focused and stay motivated to study for their exams?
All right. One of the most important thing that when the COVID just started and the Ministry of Health was asking persons to do says, make sure you have at least a month's supply of your medication, right? If you have a mental illness that requires you to be on medication, you can't have this relapse during this time. Again, because of the period in which we're going through, your anxiety is going to be higher. You're going to have more anxiety, right? So you have to be able to say, okay, what are some things I need to be able to do? When I work with person with mental illness, I have a thing called COPE, right? So it's just an acronym that it helps to say, this is what you need to do to be able to cope with having a mental illness. The first thing, C stands for care of self. We have to take care of ourselves, right? We have to make sure, and in taking care of ourselves, it means our physical self. We spoke about the Jamaica Moves team. Well, we need to go online and what do they recommend to keep physically well? We try to do that. We take care of our spiritual self. So whichever religious beliefs you have, that's the time to find that higher power that you can call on to actually help. You take care of your social self. So you use your social media platform and you talk about and like that. All right. All means you have to be optimistic. Right. And you always hear at the end of the rain, there's sunshine, there's a rainbow. That's kind of thing you're looking for. This is a rough period, but it too shall pass. Right? So we have to be able to look beyond what we're actually seeing.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And P stands for, we call it pressure free. This is one of the hardest things to do because the COVID situation is pressuring. feel like there's a weight being pushed down on us, right? Because I'm coming home this evening and I hear on the news there's another place that's going to be on a lockdown, and you're wondering, I thought that we're now going to not have all this now, we're going to be good. So you feel pressure, but you have to be able to relieve that pressure. You have to be able to do things to make you feel lighter. Family, all right? If your family is not in a good place to accommodate you, if your friends is not there, then you have to reach out to the different agencies that can offer these kind of help. And then E says, enjoy life. No matter what life throws at us, enjoy it. We need to do the things that make us happy. We need to do the things that are fulfilling for us. All right. So yes, some people might say, well, sleep is fulfilling for me. Yeah, because hey, I'm a lover of sleep. All right. But if I'm sleeping too much, then I'm not taking care of myself of myself. So I need to get adequate sleep. But I need to do things that makes me want to enjoy life. Sometimes I've never been the world's greatest cook. COVID is turning me into a very good chef. I'm now Googling different recipes, trying different things, because I'm not out as often, so I have to spend more time at home doing stuff. But just enjoy the things that are around you. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy the fact that we can still actually go outside and look at the sky, to see that, to see the trees, to see nature. We have to do some of that. So persons who have on the line or have already diagnosed mental challenges, they will have to do that. So the students will have to, I always love the buddy system. Must have one friend who will call you up and say, hey, how many hours you have put in this morning? How many assignments have you worked on? Is the SBA for so and so, for so and so finished? All right? You're going to have that friend. You'll be able to call a friend and say, this morning I wake up and I'm not in a good place. And that friend will be able to say to you, all right, let's spend some time and talk. Let's do some things, right? Let's get this going, because we're here to support each other. Our Jamaica has lots of little things that I like, because I said music is something that I love. But the No Man is an Island comes to me right now, right? We need each other to survive, right? So we have to ensure that we're using the support systems that are there for us.
Thank you so much for that, Doctor. So today I did a blog post. I was just feeling it, so I went ahead and I did it. I did something about be intentional, safeguard you. So we're talking about being intentional with the persons we have coming into our spaces, especially in this time. I realized that a lot of people actually are doing this online dating thing in this time as well. So like social distance dating. So what do you have any advice on how people can safeguard you as an individual, where you don't have people taking out of your bucket instead of, filling up your bucket? Do you have any advice on that at all?
Okay. One of the important things that we learn in relationships is it's a give and take. So if you feel that you're always giving, and not anything in return, then that's not a healthy relationship to be in. So when you start, whether it's online or when you go back face to face, you must feel as if it's a partnership, right? So if every day you have to be the one who initiates the call, you have to be the one who say, okay, we'll meet back at so and time, or we do so and so, then you realize that it's a one-sided thing. Maybe that's not the kind of relationship you want to be in. All right? While you're doing on the online thing, you also don't know who is actually on the other end. Right? So it's important that you do things like Zoom calls. Yes, we actually see it. Not just, oh, this picture of this person looks so good. Yeah. And then when you actually see the person, you're like, oh no, this is not what I thought.
Oh well.
We like to hide behind the internet, So we do a lot of things like that. So we can give the facade. We can say, this is who I am. This is where I am. This is what I have to offer. But in reality, it's not what it is. All right. So you have to be very careful. Also, just like if it was in a face-to-face relationship, when you meet somebody for the first time, you don't actually tell them your entire life story. It's a process, right? If you look at any of these soap operas, some of them have been going on for 30 years. So your life is going to be, it's a soap opera. It's going to be going on and on and on and on. So tell this person about everything about you in the first. Get time to know them. And same thing, whether it's face to face or it's an online thing. You need to get time to know them. And that's how you know if this is something that you would want to do. I
So
feel a question going on now.
thank
Part
you so
two.
much for that, doctor. Look here, you people, you everybody that is here. I hope you're listening, because I know
Right?
not only they on the dating site, them, So make sure not listening,
Exactly. And I hide behind phone.
and make sure you're not the ones catfishing anybody as well.
Exactly.
I know that we're on the topic of social media in a sense. I want to know, in your opinion, if you think that social media now is it a friend or a foe, given the news that's going around. We know we have a lot of fake news going around, and the actual real news that are probably worse than the fake news. So, what do you think about that, friend or foe?
It would be both, okay? Because to me, having persons who you can touch base with, persons you can interact with, not in a physical sense, it's very good, okay? It's just as they say, you have to be cautious. So when you're going on an Instagram site and you want to follow somebody and stuff like that, it's also very important in that we know we can always unfollow, we can always block, we can always do many things. So it's important that you feel safe in that space as well. Okay. I spend a lot of times, I say, looking at trying to find the credible stuff. All right. If I see like you're writing a blog and I say I look at your blog and I'm reading it and I'm going, oh, it seems plausible. I'll follow a few more. But if you're now asking me to do things that doesn't sound as healthy as it should be, it's like threatening my life in any way, trying for me to do things that I would normally do, then that's sometimes I say, okay, I now need to pull back. But this is not as healthy as it should be for me. All right. The fake news situation is so good. They write this fake news so well that even I sometimes get caught. Because I'm a little bit more critical. Is this true? So then I'll stop now and go and Google to see is there any truth in this. And usually my first story that comes up to say this is fake news. So I try to verify before so if somebody sends something to my phone to say like 200 cases of COVID-19 just said in Jamaica, I go to the internet immediately and I Google, because the Ministry of Health and Wellness is doing a fantastic job in putting out their bulletins. I can almost fact check almost immediately. I said, no, I haven't heard anything. Or because I'm with medical persons, I can actually WhatsApp one and say, have you heard this? And they say, okay, give me a few minutes. I get back and say, no, we haven't heard anything like this. So the fact checking, right? But for regular persons, going back to the internet, trying to find sites, I always listen to like NBC News, CNN News, or those things to get the fact. Here in Jamaica, I wait for my local news to make sure I get real things of what is happening here. All right, because persons we can doctor almost anything now with where the technology is going. You can put me in a photo of some place where I was never been and be assured everyone said, sure, there she was there. So just need to fact check a little bit more and to make sure that the persons who you're asking for help are as genuine as you are. So don't really give out too much information about yourself, and don't ask persons to tell you stuff that might not be true.
Yes, doctor, I totally agree with that, because even though social media does have its perks, anything good that is misused can definitely be detrimental. So
Yes.
we have one last question for you, doc, because we know that you're a busy woman and we know that you have your class coming up. So we have one last question for you, and that's for the students who are interested in studying clinical psychology. What tips do you have to offer for them?
Okay, firstly, it would be a wonderful move. The University of the West Indies right now, I think only school in Jamaica that's offering clinical psychology. So go through them. But as I said, I did my master's overseas, and thanks to US aid, I got a scholarship. They paid for my two years there. I did it and I came back home. But firstly, if you're going to enter into any psychological field, you must have understanding of your own self as well as persons. Persons who end up in this field usually have very good intra and interpersonal skills. So that's a plus if you have that. If you are in sixth form now, want to go forward, I know they're offering more subjects than when I did these things years ago. You can do a psychology in Cape, you can do it in other areas. So to have the background, all right? I see sometimes what I find too is that there are persons who say, when I was in high school, I was the person who my friends would come to and talk to. They would ask me for advice and so then that's also a good way to say that maybe I could be a helping professional. You have to go through there. But the road is a long road. Firstly, you have to have a first degree, all right? Some people do a first degree in psychology and then transition to a master's in psychology and doing a PhD in psychology. Some people do different things. As I said, I started out as a teacher of special needs children, because at the time, I didn't realize, I said in retrospect, I realized when I was a kid, I liked psychology, but there's no place in Jamaica that it was offered. And at that time, my family could not afford to pay for me to go overseas to go to school. So I kind of shelved that dream and went into education in an area that I actually liked. But when the chance came that I could get a scholarship to go do a master's, I said, jumped at it and said, I'm going to do this. And then special ed is an association with psychology, because it talks about children with emotional behavioral disorder, which is one of the big things, and your transition. But if you're going to be in it for the long haul, then you have at least 7 years of study, right? And internship, and then getting your practice going. All right, but it's a good place to be, and I would all encourage you. All right.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. We really enjoyed this discussion, and we really appreciated everything that you had to say. But before we close, in good NSSC fashion, we have credit to give away for the digital users, because we are in partnership with the digital. So if the Flow users would like credit, just tell Flow to get on board. Yeah, tell them to step it up. Tell them to step it up. So, all right. So get your phones ready. *121*. You guys ready? 57658 4042 7437. Tell me in the chat if you got it.
Let's see who got it.
Somebody came in? Nobody?
Anyone get it? Nobody got it?
Yeah, somebody got it.
Okay.
Oh, because I'm not seeing anything in the chat. All right, great. So we have one more. Ready again. *121*. 76572 86833040. Did anyone get it? Come on, guys, speak quickly. All right, while we're waiting for that person to come up, Doc, one of our participants have a question. Do you have time to just answer that one last question?
Okay, all right, that's fine.
All right, so the question is, what can I do when I'm having mental breakdowns whenever I'm doing my school assignments or about to, or even when I'm thinking about the consequences when I don't do them?
All right. Importantly, as I said, yeah, being able to succeed at school is something that is a teenager's role and responsibility. I spoke about the body system. You have to have that one person that you can rely on to ask, I need help, okay? Usually try and figure out what kind of help you think you will need. Do you need somebody to help to explain the assignment to you? Is it you need somebody to proofread your work? Is it that you need somebody who will say, okay, I'll give you 2 hours that we can sit down and do it together? And we're talking about in this time virtual together. All right. So WhatsApp video call. I show what you're doing. I talk about what it is, and you kind of do things like that. If the person sounds also that they might be more prone to anxiety, so they get very, very anxious around this time. Relax, learning to relax, do breathing. One of my pop thing right now is what we call 4 square breathing or box breathing. So whenever I start getting anxious about something, I just say, okay, you need to spend time and breathe. Okay, so inhale for a count of 4, then I hold it. Then I release it for a count of 4, then I hold it. I do about 3 to 4 cycles of that. And that helps me to bring my anxiety level down. All right. If that's not good enough, then I have to start bring myself, say, okay, where am I? Okay, I'm at my laptop, I'm at my desk, I have my phone in my hand. I talk about things that I can actually see, about things you can actually hear. So you're bringing back yourself to the space where you are now. And then I usually say, after you do that, then you do your breathing, and then you say, okay, how do I need help? Who can I call? And then that one friend, at least that one friend, is somebody you can call. Okay? And again, there are hotlines out there that if that one friend is not available, call a hotline to say, this is what's going on with me right now. I just need somebody to talk to, somebody to help me to focus. But I know it's rough and the anxiety will flare up. And sometimes we know what we need to do, but we just can't get ourselves to bring ourselves to do it. If you're getting to that stage and the friends are not helping, then that's when you would say, okay, I need to speak to somebody mentally. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daley, for sharing with us today. We really do appreciate it. But a lot of persons actually want to ask questions, guys, but we have to leave now. So
yes,
you know, part two soon.
Yes, with our favorite doctor.
Thank you to all the persons who came. Everybody hearing me?
Yeah, man, we can hear you.
Thank you to all the persons who tuned in for our mental health and quarantine chit chat. We really do appreciate it, guys. We are here for you, by the way. If you need anybody to talk to, we're here for you. If you want to ask Doc any more questions, by the way, we can put you on to her. So just stay with us. We're now following us on social media, guys. Follow our Instagram, NSSC_JA, National Secondary Students Council, on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much, Dr. Daley. Again, thank you for all those who tuned in. Guys, if you want to stay good in this quarantine time, there are meditation apps, motivational podcasts that you can listen to. Remember, we are here for you as the National Secretary.
Definitely are.
And you can just message us at any time, literally. So thank you again for tuning in. I am your host, Isheba Cornwall, and
Ree-Anna Robinson.
And we're signing out. Thank you.